Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do something a little different. I know that you guys have been wanting to get to know me a little bit more. So I thought what better way to do that than to do the first time tag. Not the first time y'all was thinking of, you little nasties. So I'm going to be looking up the questions and we can get started. So today's glamour shot of the day is Miss Silly Jaylene. She's one of my beautiful Glamazones. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. I couldn't do this without you. Now let's get into the video. So the first question is, what was your first tweet? My first tweet was, hello followers of Nikki. I am Nikki's coworker Jeff, who is trying to get her into Twitter world. Please make fun of her if she doesn't use it. Dated October 18th, 2011. So if that doesn't tell you anything, I was actually very, very late on the Twitter train. I don't know what it was about Twitter that kind of like freaked me out. I was like, so you just get to hear random thoughts of random strangers? Like, what sense does that make? But then I tried it and I was like, this is fucking fun. Your first Facebook post. My first Facebook post was, this is so me, oh my god. Why is it that when you are having one of the greatest days, everyone else, you know when you like can't find a hair that's on your face? Oh, I found you, fucker. Why is it that when you are having one of the greatest days, everyone else seems to be in a butt-sucking mood? Dated May 11th, 2010. So obviously this was a time when I was afraid to say ass-sucking, but that's what I meant, and it's pretty true. So yeah, that was my first Facebook post. First person you subscribed to on YouTube. I know this one hands down. The first person that I ever subscribed to on YouTube was Nicole Guerrero. I was so in love with her. I was so fucking obsessed with her. You guys have no idea. Like, I would watch every single one of her videos. You guys know, like, when she first started out and she was in like that little bitty ass room. She was always so fucking funny and super talented with makeup. So I watched her all the time. And yeah, so that was the first person that I subscribed to on YouTube. First Facebook profile pic. No, do not do this to me. Oh my god, this is gonna be so fucking embarrassing. I already know. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not bad. So this was me in high school and I was at church actually because I was a good kid. I think I was probably around 17 years old, and from the looks of it, obviously I did not know anything about doing my fucking eyebrows. So don't judge me, okay? Do you still talk to your first love? Absolutely fucking not. He's a douchebag. He's an asshole. He can kiss my ass. No. Your first alcoholic drink. My first alcoholic drink. Oh, yeah. So my first alcoholic drink, legally was in Las Vegas. I was in Vegas for my 21st birthday. And you know those big slushy drinks and the big thing? Yeah, it was one of those. What was your first job? So my first job was actually here in Colorado. I was 13 years old and I had taken my dog to a groomer's around my neighborhood. I noticed that it was one lady in there. She was probably in her like early 30s and she was doing everything. She was there by herself. And so she was running that whole shop all by herself. So I noticed that she was the only one there and she looked like she needed help. So I asked her if she needed any help, and she actually said yes and gave me a job basically scheduling appointments, doing intake forms. You know, I've been like an admin all my life, girl. So I was 13 years old, she hired me, and she paid me cash every day. So that was my first job. What was your first car? My first car was a 2007 Scion TC. I was 19 years old and I bought it all by myself. Nothing has ever been given to me, so I worked really hard for it and I bought that shit and I didn't have no co-signer or nothing, and it was my baby. It was a two-door. I just loved it. Who was the first person to text you today? The first person to text me today was my brother. Who was the first person you thought of this morning? The first person that I thought of this morning, honestly, it was my mom, because we were planning to go to the movies today. So I was like, I wonder if she still wants to go to the movies today. So yeah, it was my mom. First grade teacher. My first grade teacher. She was like one of the coolest teachers. Her name was Mrs. Vaughn. She was cool as shit. She literally would let us watch SpongeBob every fucking day. She was so cool. I loved her. Ms. Vaughn, you cool as fuck. Where did you go on your first ride on an airplane? My first ride on an airplane was when I was 12 years old and I flew to Las Vegas from Dallas with my aunt, and we went to Vegas and then drove to Los Angeles to go to Universal Studios and Disneyland, drove back to Vegas, and then flew back to Dallas. So that was my first time being on a plane. Who was your first best friend and do you still talk? My first best friend was Sierra. She was the daughter of one of my aunt's best friends. So she was kind of like a family friend, and literally we were in diapers together. She's a little older than me, but every birthday party, everything, like growing up, she was always there for it, and our families were so close at the time, so she was definitely my homie. She was my best friend. We actually lost touch right before I moved here, actually, and then of course I moved here, and then we really lost touch. So girl, if you're seeing this, I still love you. I still love you, girl. Where was your first sleepover? My first sleepover was actually at Sierra's house. I remember we actually got in trouble when I spent the night there because you know those Easy Bake ovens? Sierra had just gotten one of those for Christmas, and like we were so fucking excited to play with it, and her mom was like, we'll play with it tomorrow. But we couldn't sleep, and we were like so fucking excited, and we like kept looking over at the Easy Bake oven, and we both got up and we tried to use it without telling her mom, and we were like fucking everything up, and we had like chocolate everywhere. It was a mess. Her mom got so fucking mad. Debbie, I'm sorry. What was the first thing you did this morning? The first thing I did this morning was respond to some comments and some Snapchats that I got from you guys, actually. Honestly, I lay in bed for about an hour before I get up just doing that. What was the first concert you ever went to? So that's actually a funny story. I will have to tell you guys about that story because me and my friend almost got kicked out of this concert. Honestly, I don't remember the artist. God, that's awful. Texas. I know about country music. I actually enjoy some country music, but preferably I listen to other types of music, so I had no idea who this guy was, okay? But she was in love with him. She was so in love with him that she actually got VIP tickets for the both of us so that we could meet him. So I'm going to this concert, and it was actually at Red Rocks here in Colorado, and I went to this concert with her, and we had so much fun. His music was amazing. I really wish I could remember his name. If I do, I will leave it down in the description box below. But super good time, and then things got a little cray and we almost got kicked out, but you know, whatever. But we did get to meet him, and she got like a CD signed by him or something. But it was a super good time, so that was my first time going to a concert. First broken bone. I actually have been pretty lucky in my life. I haven't broken any bones by like playing around or anything, but I do have that storytime video of the time I had cancer, so I mean, I guess technically that's a broken bone, right? First piercing. My first piercing was obviously my ears. I was like a baby. I got my ears pierced, but my first like piercing that I chose was when I was 15. I got my belly button pierced. First foreign country you've gone to. Honestly, the only place that I've been to outside of the United States is Mexico. Like, your girl ain't well-rounded just yet, but don't worry. I'm gonna get to Europe one day before I die. I guarantee you that. I'm gonna get there. First movie you remember seeing? Man, that's hard. I think I was really little, and I remember watching E.T. with my brother. So I think it may have been E.T. I'm sure I saw other movies before that, but I remember that. So maybe it was, I don't know. I think E.T. What was your first detention? Oh my God. Okay, so if I have not explained this to you guys before, I was such a big fucking nerd when I was in school. Like, up until pretty much high school, I was very quiet. I was a nerd. I wore glasses. Like, the only thing that I was missing was braces. I never brushed my hair. Like, I was a fucking nerd. I read all the time. I always did my homework, okay? I was like a straight A student in elementary school. And one day I went to class, and I was in the 4th grade, and we were supposed to turn in our homework. And we didn't have homework every day, but usually I remembered when we had homework. And this day, I don't know what the fuck happened, but the teacher said, it's time to turn in your homework. And I didn't have any record of any homework that needed to be done. So I flipped the fuck out and I started freaking out. I'd never missed my homework before. And the big deal about this was if you didn't turn in your homework, you didn't get recess that day. And I loved recess, okay? Don't fucks with my recess. So I was like, holy shit. We actually sat at these big tables, and you sat with like 5 other kids at each table, right? So they were like little quads. And every day the table would pick one person to gather everyone's homework and take it to the teacher. So on this day, they chose me to gather all the homework and take it to the teacher. So I gathered all the homework, and this whole time my heart is beating so fucking fast because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble. I didn't do my homework. Oh my God, how embarrassing. I'm gonna be sitting out of recess. I don't know what the fuck came over me and why I decided to do this, but my ass decided. There was a little girl that sat next to me, and her name was Allison. And I decided Allison wrote her name on her homework in pencil. What the fuck? And I said, oh, I forgot to put my name on my homework. And I got a pencil and I erased Allison's fucking name and I put my shit on there, okay? And turned it into the teacher. That was probably the meanest thing that I could have ever done ever to anybody, and I felt awful, and so I stole this bitch's homework. Teacher started tallying off the homework to see who brought their homework and who didn't, and then she made an announcement and said these following people will be sitting out for recess today for no homework. And so she does the list and she stands up and she says the following people are sitting out for recess for no homework. She goes down the list and she says Allison's name. I don't know why I wasn't counting on Allison fucking fighting for herself. I thought she was just gonna sit there and fucking take it and be like, oh, I guess I sit out for recess. Like, I didn't think that she was gonna be like, no, I turned in my homework. So that's exactly what she did. She was like, no, I turned in my homework. And the teacher was like, I don't have a record of it. And she was like, no, I swear I turned in my homework. And she's freaking out because of course she would. Like, she just handed in her homework. The teacher said, why don't you come up here and tell me which one's yours? And I freaked the fuck out. Like, my stomach dropped so fucking fast, you guys. And I was sitting there just fucking sweating in my seat. And Allison goes, that one's mine. And the teacher was like, no, that one's Nikki's. And she was like, no, that one's mine. And so the teacher was like, Nikki, can you come up here? I actually had to admit that I fucking erased her name on her homework and put my name because I didn't want to sit out for recess. So I got in school suspension. And I was so sad, and I was like so fucking scared to like tell my mom. My mom actually wasn't mad. She was just like, dude, you made a mistake. If you didn't do your homework, then take your consequences and sit out, you know? Bet you won't forget it again. Who was your first roommate? So I actually never really had a roommate. I don't really like living with strangers. I moved with my mom and we lived downtown, and then my mom was moving to New York, so I took over that apartment. And then when David and I started dating, and we started getting more serious, then David moved in to that apartment with me. So I guess David is my only roommate. 'Cause I don't trust people. Like, that's pretty much it. What is the first thing you do when you get home? The first thing that I do when I get home, honestly, is something relating to this. Like filming or editing a video, or editing like outro screens or something. Like something related to YouTube. That's usually what I'm doing the minute I fucking get home. When was your first kiss? Oh my god, this is such a fucking funny story. Okay, so I was 9 years old and I was always at my grandma's house, especially during the summer while my mom worked. And so my grandma lived in this house and had been living there since I was 3 years old. That was like my childhood house. Like, my grandma was living there for years. And there was this other lady that lived next to her that had grandkids as well that were around our age. So we had known them for most of our lives. Basically grew up together. They lived in the same neighborhood. And so we would play all the time outside together. They would come over to our backyard. We'd go over to their backyard. So there were 2 brothers and 1 sister. And the sister, me and her were like best friends, and she was like 2 years younger than me. Her middle brother was a year younger than me, and then her oldest brother was 2 years older than me. And we played all of the fucking kid games, you know, like Bloody Mary in the bathroom or like, you know, all this stupid shit. And we played Spin the Bottle one time, and we were all in there in the garage at my grandma's house. Badass kids. Everyone was spinning the bottle, right? And so my turn came around and I was so fucking nervous. And I spinned the bottle. The bottle finally stopped, and it stopped on the oldest brother, the one that was 2 years older than me. Keep in mind, I've known this boy pretty much my whole life. And I was so embarrassed because everybody was like, ooh, y'all gotta kiss. I got up and I fucking ran, okay? Your girl ran. I ran so fucking fast into my grandma's house. My grandma had 3 rooms, and I ran into her middle room, which was usually my room when I was there. And I like was so fucking embarrassed. During this time, my grandma's house was being renovated, so there was a door there, but my uncle was getting some new doorknobs to replace the old ones. So in place of the doorknob, it was just a hole where a doorknob goes because he was buying some new ones. So I had closed my door, but there's no doorknob, so it's just a big ass hole like this big, right? And I hear my cousin and him, we'll call him I'm Anthony, okay? So I hear my cousin and Anthony coming down the hall, you know, calling my name, and my cousin was like, why are you being like that? Like, why are you being a baby? You just ran out in front of everybody. And I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't know why he brought Anthony, because I was even more embarrassed. And I was like, well, you guys just go. And all of a sudden, my cousin pushed Anthony into my room and shut the door and had his like fingers through the hole to like keep it shut, and was like looking at us through the little hole, and he was like, it's the rules, you guys have to kiss, so I'm not letting you out of this room until you kiss. Legit was the scariest moment of my whole fucking life. I was like, oh my god. There's Anthony looking at me like, okay, let's just do it. And I was like, no. I was like so fucking scared. So Anthony was like, look, let's just do a really small, quick peck. It'll be over before you know it, and then we can get out of the room. And so I was like, okay. So we lean in, kiss. Just a very quick little peck, and that's what my ass did. I got up and ran. I ran again. I was fucking running everywhere. I ran into my grandma's room. She actually had a doorknob on her door, and I shut her door and locked it and stayed in there for the rest of the night. So that's the story of my first kiss. I was scared as fuck, and I locked myself in my grandma's room. So that is it for the first time tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found out a little bit more about moi. Thank you guys so much for checking out my videos. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you already aren't. Let me know your thoughts down below and any ideas for new videos that you guys would like to see in the future. And thank you so much for all of your love and support. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.